NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, there's a brand new mock draft from Pro Football Focus. And what we're going to do is we're going to run through every single pick, and I'm going to give you my honest reaction and thoughts. And there was some trades in this mock draft as well. I'll tell you this ahead of time. I'll preface this by saying that this mock draft is very interesting. Okay? I will give you my open and honest opinion, so let's go ahead and get started with this mock. With the first pick in the NFL draft, the Carolina Panthers select Anthony Richardson, quarterback, Florida. What in the hell? Anthony Richardson at 1? I got a lot of problems with Anthony Richardson. He is not a good passer. He is one of the worst passing prospects that's projected to be a top 5 pick that I've ever seen, in all honesty. And number 1 to the Panthers? I don't see that happening. I think Carolina's going Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. But since Anthony Richardson's gone, that leaves Houston getting the guy we all know they want, Bryce Young. Houston more than joyed to have Bryce Young get their guy at the quarterback spot. D'Amico Ryan's new head coach, new quarterback, seems like a good tandem there, a win-win on that front. And then we have our first trade of the draft. Moving up one spot, the Indianapolis Colts jump up to number 3 overall because they don't want to lose the chance to pick this quarterback. We'll show you here in just a second. As a result, Cardinals move down just one spot to 4, and according to PFF, they pick up another pick. Okay, whatever that means. With that said, what do the Colts do? They go Will Levis with the number 3 overall pick. I thought for sure this would be a move to get C.J. Stroud. Not so fast. Will Levis, I'm getting Blaine Gabbert vibes. A little stiff as far as I'm concerned. Not great, Bob, but nonetheless, that's what Indianapolis does here. 4, Will Anderson goes to Arizona. Pretty good deal for Arizona. They get the player they wanted. They got needs on defense to cover, and you gain some draft capital in the process. You didn't need a quarterback. You got Kyler Murray already. I like that for the Cardinals. So, let me ask you a prediction time, our pinned comment today. Which NFL draft prospect will have the best career? Will it be Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis? Will it be Jalen Carter? Who will be the best in this year's draft? Tell me in the comment section below. Give me one name who you believe will be the best. Number 5, the Seahawks go with Jalen Carter. I think Seahawks fans are jumping up and down for joy of getting arguably the best player in this draft and filling a big need on the defensive line. And then we get another trade. That is where we find the Tennessee Titans moving up to 6. The Lions trading back to 11, and they also get some more draft capital that PFF didn't specify. But nonetheless, with the selection, the Tennessee Titans, they get their quarterback. C.J. Stroud at number 6, sitting behind Ryan Tannehill for now. An aggressive but necessary move for the Tennessee Titans there. 7, the Las Vegas Raiders go with the best corner in this draft, Devon Witherspoon. That seems to be a big win for the Raiders there to go with Witherspoon. 8, what's interesting about this, almost everyone else is projecting Big Pete to go to the Chicago Bears. But in this case, he ends up in Atlanta. Not bad, though. Atlanta needs help on that offensive line for their young quarterback, Desmond Ridder. 9, Chicago. Remember, they traded down originally. They had the number 1 pick. They go with Cancey, the big fella from Pitt, who's been skyrocketing boards. That's an interesting pick for me, though, at 9. 10, Brian Branch to Philadelphia. We've seen some projections show Brian Branch not even going in the first round, let alone top 10 to Philly. Okay. He can play safety and corner, though, so he does have some versatility there. More picks to get to here in just a second. Before we do, though, if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Look, folks, I got to tell you, we are going to have a heck of a time on draft night here on the channel. Myself, Tom Downey, our entire crew, Will Scott and the gang, we are going to have you covered. We're going to break down every single pick. We are going to give you instant reaction, analysis, and we're going to get you ready for the draft in the meantime as well. We're also talking trades, free agency, and more. This is the channel for you. If you love the NFL, subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. We cover the NFL like no one else is in true Chat Sports fashion. Subscribe now for free. Everyone's favorite price. YouTube.com/Chat Sports. Turn on notifications as well. We move to the number 11 pick now. That's where we find the Lions going corner, getting help on their much-needed defense. Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State with the selection. Another Buckeye. This time it is Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State going at 12 to the Houston Texans. They pair him up with their new young quarterback, Bryce Young, and try to build things from there. 13, another Ohio State Buckeye. That's where we find offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr., who some believe might be the very best tackle in this draft. The Jets need help on the O-line. Will they even hold the pick, though? Remember, you got the Aaron Rodgers trade, of course, pending as well. At 14, Deonte Banks, the corner from Maryland, about 2 months ago was projected to be a third-round pick. He's seen his stock soar, as well as the other corners in this draft. He goes to New England at 14. At 15, we see the Packers go with a skill position player. Although Aaron Rodgers is not expected to be there, I bet he might be a little frustrated to see them going with a skill position player after he leaves. Dalton Kincaid is terrific. A great pass catcher, heck of an athlete out of Utah, was a big part of their Rose Bowl teams the last few years. He goes to Green Bay at 15 and provides a weapon for Jordan Love. Then at offensive tackle at 16, this guy by most accounts is projected to be a second-round pick. Top 50 player, Anton Harrison, the offensive tackle from the University of Oklahoma, goes to the Commanders. Bit of a reach here for Harrison as far as that goes. 17, we see Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle from Georgia, dominated in the SEC, and his statistics were good. I mean, if you look at the Pro Football Focus numbers, they loved him. The pass block grade, the run block grade, all of that was really good when it came to Broderick Jones, and the Steelers get their guy, much-needed help for their young quarterback, Kenny Pickett there with some protection on the offensive line. Now, I would be very surprised if this happens. Christian Gonzalez falls to the Detroit Lions at 18, the corner from Oregon. I think that he's more than likely a top 10 pick, but if you're Detroit, we mentioned earlier about trying to get some help on the defense. Detroit's earlier pick was Joey Porter Jr. So now you just doubled up on two young corners with your first picks in the first round. I'd be surprised if they go two corners, but we've seen crazier things happen before. Lucas Van Ness, the edge rusher out of Iowa. Now, I know that there's been some concerns from people saying, he didn't start at Iowa, he's behind those seniors and everything. Well, even as a rotational piece, he was awesome. And can you trust Kurt Ferentz? I mean, he's still got his son Brian employed, who ran a pretty terrible offense. So I don't hold that against Lucas Van Ness. Bucs, I think, would be thrilled to have him. We go to 20. That's where the Seahawks draft Jordan Addison with the number 20 pick. The Seahawks need help at the receiver spot. Tyler Lockett's not getting any younger. They got to think about his replacement. But do they do it with their second first-round pick? I don't know about that. They got other things to take care of, especially on defense. But it is an interesting thought. More to get to in just a bit. But here's what I want to do. I want you to shout out your favorite team. Tell me who is the team you root for. Myself, I went to the University of Kansas. Rock Chalk. We had a very good year, our football program this year, comparatively speaking to the way years past. For all the Texas fans out there, horns down, just for you. Throw that 15-yard penalty on me. I don't care. Shout out your favorite college football team. Let me know who you root for on Saturdays in the comments section below. 21, that is where we find Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver from TCU, an athletic freak, great deep pass catching ability, as athletic as hell. The Chargers need help at receiver too. Speaking of being athletic as hell, Nolan Smith goes to the Baltimore Ravens. This feels like a Ravens pick, doesn't it? The Ravens have a lot of needs when it comes to receiver and also at the corner spot. But you got OBJ now, so maybe you don't have to use the first at the wide receiver spot. Maybe you go with that athletic player like Nolan Smith here. This one would surprise me a little bit, but it does kind of feel like a Ravens player Nolan Smith is. Trade alert, that is where we find the Kansas City Chiefs moving up from 31 to 23. And the Vikings receive some capital that is not specified. But nonetheless, the Chiefs move up, the Super Bowl champions. And with the pick, they get much-needed help on the offensive line. Orlando Brown is gone, as well as Andrew Wiley. Now they bring in Darnell Wright, the offensive tackle from Tennessee. Some people think Wright is the best tackle in this draft. If he's around at 23, I very well could see Kansas City trading up to this spot to get that offensive tackle there. I'd be surprised if he's still around, though. This is probably the biggest shocker of this entire mock draft. The disrespect for Tyree Wilson. Most people are projecting Tyree Wilson to be no less than a top 8 pick. And somehow he slips all the way to 24 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I understand he's coming off an injury there that he suffered against Kansas, actually, in Big 12 play this past season. But Tyree Wilson, I'm telling you, folks, has the chance to be a star in this league. If the Jags get him at 24, they ought to be thrilled, but I'd be shocked if he's still around there. 25, we might have another reach. I know that the Giants need help on the offensive line, but a center in the first round, John Michael Schmitz, I don't know about that. Now, I'll say this much. Think about the centers that have come out the last couple of years. Tyler Linderbaum, he ended up being a first-round pick, and the Ravens are very glad they took him in the first round. Creed Humphrey, the year prior, arguably the best center in the entire league. He was a second-round pick. And if you were to redraft that draft, I mean, Creed Humphrey probably would have been a top 10 or 15 pick. So maybe this is a result of the more recent success of the center position where John Michael Schmitz, who most people are projecting to be a second or late second-round pick, maybe he gets the benefit of what we've seen from the last couple centers where he moves up to 25, potentially to the Giants. Next up, Bijan Robinson falls to 26 to the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? They get Bijan to stay in Texas? Jerry's throwing a party. It's going to be crazy in Arlington and Frisco both. 27, Cam Smith goes to the Buffalo Bills at corner. Cam Smith, fine football player, could sneak his way into that first round. Michael Mayer goes to the Bengals at 28. We know the Bengals need help at the tight end spot, so this makes sense. Don't know if he slides all the way to 28, though. Myles Murphy, this is another one, another slide here. 29, New Orleans, you're thrilled if he's there at 29, but don't see that happening. Remember at one point in time, Myles Murphy was projected to be a top 5 pick. He is slipping, but I don't think he slips all the way to 29. Jack Campbell at linebacker to Iowa, another Iowa player off the board. Jack Campbell seems like that's a fit there at 30 to Philadelphia. Don't have a problem with that. And then BB O'Brien here. This is somebody that's been in the 20 to 31 range, so that makes sense to see him there at 31 to the Minnesota Vikings. That mock draft was a doozy. I'm not going to lie. Starting right off the top with Anthony Richardson at 1, and then we saw some other surprises. Tyree Wilson slipping all the way that he did to the Jags pick. That one caught me off guard. Bijan falling a little bit to the Dallas Cowboys there at 26. Didn't see that one coming either. PFF, that wasn't very good. I'll be honest with you. That's a D in my book. Grade it for me in the comments section. Let me know, and I will see you next time right here on NFL Daily.